I am the worst type of addict. And I say that not like in degrading myself, but any mind altering substance. I truly love not feeling myself. I always had to be numb of some way, shape, or form. And any chemical that I can get my hands on that would change how I felt was definitely what I would do. I'd go for it. So I've had tremendous problems and horrific addictions to majority of the downers, the opiates, and the stimulants. Those are my drugs of choice for a long, long time. 21 years. Yeah. I took my first hit of crack cocaine at 12 years old from my stepmother. Yeah. I was in a car accident with my dad in Colorado, and was drinking and driving, and he rolled the car, and we rolled 8 times. He got ejected on the second roll and was deceased. He died there, and then the next day I saw my stepmom and my older brother in the bathroom smoking something, and 12-year-old curiosity. I went in there and I seen what they were doing, and of course I wanted to try it because they were trying it, they were doing it, so I wanted to do it. So I took my first hit at that 12 years old, right after losing my father, and I fell in love. Most people, say would have been so hard on you, but I grew up in an extremely chaotic, alcoholic, drug addict family. The fighting, the violence, the hatred was out of control. So there was no real love there except for my mom. But that kind of dwindled away as her alcoholism progressed to a point, well, till she drank herself to death. So, yeah. People, my life, I've been told by numerous people when I tell my story at different rehabs or facilities or detoxes when I go in, they say I should contact Lifetime or Hallmark because my story is, my whole life story would be like a perfect movie of like the real growing up in an addicted family. Growing up, I think there was like short periods of time where there was like, it was normal. And our normal was my dad drinking or getting drunk and only hitting my mom a couple times a night. That was my normal. And, I think I compared my life a lot to my friend's life. Like I would see my friends from school or where I lived. They would have such normal lives, and that was taboo to me. I'm like, why is it like that? Like that, they're so loving and caring. I'm like, it's weird. But I would, eventually I'd be jealous. I'm like, I really want that. I want a loving family. So I didn't get it until I actually met my partner. That's when I actually felt that love that from another person that I should have had my whole life as a kid or growing up. I'm grateful to be alive. I've OD'd 3 times in my life. And the last time it was probably the worst. It was 6 Narcans, and I was dead for 21 seconds. I don't know why I'm still here, but it was enough to shake me to my core. I never wanted to go back to that again. I think it scared me enough. And, at that point when I OD'd, I was already at a point in my addiction where I just wanted to die. I had no hope of living. I tried to get sober numerous times and it never worked. And I just could not put it down on my own. But ever since that OD, I have never felt such desperation to stay sober in my life. It's like an overwhelming feeling of, no matter what, I'm staying sober. And I wake up with it every day. I remember exactly, I wake up, I remember exactly what I went through. And it just helps drive me to stay sober and help other people. That's where I'm at right now in my recovery. I really help a lot of people in my network of sobriety people. I remember waking up to a light almost similar to this. It was in a hospital, and I had probably had 6 doctors around me, and they were just, if I could just print the image from my brain to on paper of their faces and jaws, and just their mouths were wide open. They're like, we don't know how you're alive. We don't. And I remember once a lot of them cleared out, the one doctor, he said, "Kid, you're going to die next time if you do this. I guarantee it." And that kind of gave me enough to, like, I realized he was serious. And I realized that was my 3rd overdose, and I'm too scared to test it. You know, I'm not a cat. I don't got extra lives. But I do know that I was at a point where I wanted to be done, and I just couldn't. I didn't know how to be done, and I think that overdose it shook me up to do whatever. And it gave me the ability to actually listen to other people, like people who were actually trying to help me, good, positive people, recommending rehabs, and okay, I'll do it, instead of, oh, I got this, I'll do it on my own, because 21 years of addiction, I've never once had it on my own. I could never have done it on my own. So it gave me that ability to actually listen to the advice and what other people are trying to help me with. It was scary at first. I've been to a few rehabs in my life, and this one, it was scary because I didn't know if I was going to have any permanent damage from that overdose. As the doctor stressed it, you may have, permanent damage. We don't know until, as you get yourself back to normal. But the rehab, when I got into detox, I was excited at first, and then, of course, with the withdrawals, they started coming on, and I was, blessed to be in a detox where they were able to medicate me to where I didn't have to feel such severe, and so it made it a little bit easier. But after the detox phase, I was excited. I was happy to be sober and happy to get sober. I have been in and out of sobriety 21 years, my addiction, 21 years I've been dealing with this. And it took, for me to stay sober, it takes the gift of desperation for me. I can't, vouch for everyone, but for me, it takes the desperation that I feel, and I pray for it every morning, because I don't want to lose it. I feel that if I lose that gift of desperation, that I may start going back to old ways, going back out, and that part scares me. So I wake up, I pray for that. So after rehab, I joined AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I use Alcoholics Anonymous because the Alcoholics Anonymous program is the founder of 12 Steps, which the recovery program of all recovery programs, that is the founder of it, like the grandfather of it. And I had found that the type of addict that I am, even if I take a drink of wine or alcohol, my brain, something happens in my brain where I go straight to fentanyl or straight to the other stuff. So I do Alcoholics Anonymous as my sobriety, my program. And I joined the clubhouse here in San Antonio, and I just dove in. You know, I didn't let my being scared get ahead of me. I raised my hand. I found a sponsor, and the people that I let in my circle. So my circle is fairly small. I got 5 people, but it's 5 people that I love unconditionally. They're there for me 24/7. I mean, there's times where I'll wake up from a using dream, and I'll call them like 2 a.m, and they'll answer. I don't have to worry about them never answering. But I do the steps. I fellowship. That was a huge one for me because in recovery, a lot of young people, especially like me, we get bored really quick. A lot of us can't sit still. We just get sick of doing the same thing, which is, work, meeting, steps, home. It's, like a routine almost. And for me, I had to change that. I had to shake it up. I had to get involved with the clubhouse, which they have events. Every month we have something going on, whether it's fundraisers or awareness, you name it. That's what keeps me sober. Usually at the end of the day, I'm so exhausted from just doing everyday stuff with the clubhouse alone, never alone my personal life. It's what keeps me sober. I haven't had the thought to use since, and I've been tested in sobriety. Big triggers for me, the loss of a loved one, like my dog. I had to put my dog down, and my dog was my best friend for 13 years of my using. She went to rehab with me. And I did that, and I got to stay sober through it. And the only way I was able to do that is with the help of my friends, my fellowship, my clubhouse, and my sponsor, of course. So that is I can't stress it enough when I talk to other people in programs. Like, staying sober is the struggle. Anybody can get sober for 24 hours. It's staying sober for that stretch, the long time, and that's the tricky part. And I think everyone's different. Everyone has their own way of doing it. But for me, I had to throw myself in there and be involved, and continue to be involved. Doing other stuff with other areas of recovery, like sharing my story. It's the highlight of my month. I'm doing it 3 times a month now. Different parts of this, San Antonio, the rehabs, detoxes, or psychiatric hospitals, or even jails. I haven't gone there yet, but I am signed up. You get this overwhelming feeling of like, I know my story can reach someone and help them. So it's exciting. Never lose hope. I think that was, there was parts of my life where I was so down in the dumps, and I always told myself, this is it. This is what my life is going to be. Homeless, destroyed my life, killed relationships, and I couldn't keep a needle out of my arm. I accepted that. And there was times where I had lost hope. But there was always somebody else in recovery. I know that people that watch this, I just hope that if they're struggling with addiction, or if they know someone that's struggling with addiction, they don't have to plan some big intervention or, wait for them to destroy their life. It's what we call in AA is planting the seed of sobriety. And it was planted in me very early on. So, taking someone to an AA meeting, or just getting them a book NA book or AA book or whatever sobriety book, and just getting that seed planted. I think that made the biggest difference. So every time I felt like I was done using, say I was on a bender for a month or 6 months, and I knew I was sick of it, I wanted to go back to sobriety, I knew exactly where to go. And that was, to an NA meeting or to an AA meeting or a Heroin Anonymous meeting. And the second you walk into one of those meetings, someone will greet you. I've never had someone not greet me, except in a Spanish meeting. I didn't know Spanish. I didn't know I was walking into one of those. They are like looking at me like I was an alien or something. I'm like, oh, wrong meeting. But somebody will always reach their hand out, and that is such a comforting feeling if you're just in a hopeless state of mind and you just want sobriety, even if it doesn't stick. You just to go and feel that compassion that someone's still there, people are still there to help you. That is the biggest thing I can recommend to anyone.